In a different project, BBSRC project, we've identified 2 lines with excellent stem rust resistance, adult plant stem rust resistance, crossed it with a susceptible one, and we've developed double diploid populations. They've been phenotyped several times again because we have the availability of the appropriate cultures. And same for stripe rust. All these populations were developed in our program except for the Francolin avocet, which Ravi Singh developed. But we have developed these, we phenotyped them with the appropriate cultures, and the resistance, whether stem rust or stripe rust, even leaf rust, all the resistance has been mapped. And especially these 2 lines, as well as the Kriega avocet and the Capelle de Prey, that information, our local germplasm is already being tested with markers for that by the Sengen group in Worcester, by René Prins. So the application is already there. Although we may not have varieties at this point with that particular sources, we are improving our germplasm all the time. This is the Israel collaboration, the Agelop sharonensis wheat recombinants, different levels of resistance in that material. I selected these plants, got the seed, and took them to the field in 2013 and tested them with PTKST. And these 2 stems come from different plants within one row. And you can quite clearly see that we were able to select highly resistant entries, which were then tagged, bagged, and harvested. And I tested for homozygosity and sent 42 lines homozygous for this particular source of resistance back to Dr. Millett, who's now taking it further. And quite interestingly, many of these appeared well adapted. Good large spikes, under our conditions at least, they looked like wheat, they didn't look like wild grass or bamboo. And hopefully something useful will come out of this that can be used in breeding. Here you can see some of the Chinese derivatives. Obvious that they're quite a long way from bread wheat, but again, it's valuable to test them in the field. We do seedling tests. We also take them to the field, and we can now phenotype and describe the actual response and inform our Chinese co-workers what they can expect if this gene is to be, or genes is to be used further in breeding. And then when you have interesting isolates, you also graced with the presence of esteemed pathologists from Australia, and Professor Park is typing away on his computer. But last year when we tested the Osvar, Devinder and Robert came out to visit, and they could go through their lines and get a better idea of also how their germplasm is responding under South African conditions. Yeah.